What's up, friends? Welcome into another episode of Tables, Tailgates, and Top Loaders. So happy to have you all aboard for this episode. I'm your host, as always, TB. Thank you all so very much for stopping in and checking out the 3Ts. Now, right up front, I do want to apologize. I missed getting the episode out to you all last week. Well, sometimes life throws some barriers in your way. As it turns out, last Wednesday, I actually blew out my knee and suffered a complex tear of my meniscus. So I have been on crutches, trying to work my way through what the next few months of my life will look like. The surgeon is next up on my list, and I will meet with him very shortly. But yeah, it's caused a bit of a delay. So as I was saying, I do apologize for not getting this episode out sooner, but it has given me some more time to kind of dive into some of these things and really see what we got going on. So we got a lot to get to. Let's not waste any more time. Let's dive right in. Hobby enthusiast card marks, you are on the clock. How are we feeling? I'm feeling pretty good because I got to open a jumbo hobby of 2026 Topps Series 1 baseball. Now, for me, this kind of marks the start of the 2026 baseball collecting calendar, if you will. This is usually the flagship product that Topps releases. Most people complain about this, but look, if you love baseball, if you love collecting, if you're not in it to flip, this is the series that everyone looks forward to because it kind of kicks things off and it's the start of the season. So I got myself a jumbo hobby box and I was able to open it. So what's in a jumbo hobby? We kind of previewed this already, but I just kind of want to go through my experience with you. 10 packs, 40 cards per pack. So out of a jumbo hobby, you're looking at 400 cards. Now, what they tell you on the box is one auto, one relic per box guaranteed. They had removed one extra relic out, but I've watched a lot of videos, many are getting that extra relic back. I was able to get 2 relics in addition to my auto. The auto I got was a 1991 throwback of third baseman Josh Young from the Texas Rangers. So, not too bad. I've actually heard of him. He can actually play a little bit, and if this guy could stay on the field, he's going to be a pretty solid major leaguer. So I'm not too upset about it. And the signature on this card, it looks pretty solid, pretty good. So some of these guys, when I look at some of the ways they sign, it's literally like their initials. They spend no time signing, and I'm like, get out of here with this trash. Like, I was looking at picking up a auto Bills card of running back James Cook, and he literally signs his cards with a JC. And I was like, well, someone thinks pretty highly of themselves to just sign your card with JC, but I digress. So back to the Topps Series 1. 400 cards in this set, in the box. And overall, I think the more time I spend with it, the more I like the design. I like the stitch look on the left side of the card. I'm really happy with the way they kind of went away from having the player's position designated by a baseball diamond and a red dot. I thought that was stupid. It made no sense. I mean, it made sense, but I just didn't like it. Here, the player's position is listed straightforward. It's right under their name. I like it much better, so thank you, Topps. The parallels are numerous. We've talked about it before. For this jumbo hobby, you are looking at exclusive sand glitter parallels, and I think the sand glitter parallels are pretty sharp. The inserts, at least the ones I got, they are okay. Not a huge fan of this one they call Big Ticket Player. It's kind of a direct knockoff of something Panini has done before. They're sideways cards, and it makes it look like a ticket stub. It's whatever. I'm not too thrilled about it. There is an all Topps team card insert that I think is pretty cool, as well as the greatest hits cards, but none of them really knocked my socks off. So it is what it is. I ended up with 4 numbered cards out of this jumbo hobby. I got a gold, which is out of 2026. I got a purple rainbow foil out of 250. I got a gold sand glitter, which is actually out of 50, so not too bad. Jordan Beck of the Colorado Rockies. Pretty good home run hitter. Maybe he can put it together, so that's not a bad card. And then one of my relics was a 1991 throwback rookie card. It's a player-worn relic of Colson Montgomery. So I guess he's kind of high on the rookie list, and this card was numbered to 99 out of 99. So for, a relic, most people look at these relics and yeah, this is stupid. I also got a Julio Rodriguez game-worn, game-used memorabilia relic card. So hey, the players I got between the auto of Josh Young, the mem of Julio Rodriguez, and rookie Colson Montgomery numbered, hey, I can't really complain because I've watched a lot of videos of people opening this stuff, and some people did not get anywhere close to as lucky as I did. Look, I know I didn't make my money back on the box, but to me, that's that's never the goal. I did enjoy opening it. I thought it was enjoyable. I had a lot of fun. Also, I went to Walmart. I grabbed a hanger box, and the hangers have exclusive Diamante parallels, which for me, these are the best parallels of the whole product. I love the way these Diamantes look. I did manage to also grab an aqua hollow foil out of this hanger box, which is pretty good because it's a retail exclusive, and it comes out of like one out of every 500 packs. It's not numbered, but it's still pretty cool. So yeah, hangers, not a bad option if you're looking to dive into retail. I've watched a ton of this being opened. I would totally suggest avoiding the value or blaster boxes because they're garbage. There's absolutely nothing in them. I do plan on grabbing some of these Easter egg holiday variation releases. They're like $14.99, and you get just as many cards, I think, or almost as many cards as the hanger. Maybe it's a little more than a hanger. And I do like some of the Easter variations. There's a lot of like pastels, some wild colors. They're always something I look forward to because I think they're fun. And then in addition, I am going to see about grabbing a super box or two. These are usually aimed at the kids. They usually have, or historically have included the player pen, which it is what it is. I got a pin of Dylan Cruz, which is cool because I PC Dylan Cruz, but this year it's a little different. They got rid of the pin and they have replaced it with a mini Funko Pop, which I am on board. I love Funko Pops. Some of my favorite things to collect. I've been working on a pretty good collection of WWE Funkos, so this is right up my alley. So yeah, I think I'm going to try to grab a super box or two. I'm not done with Series 1. I know people open like a box or two and then they kind of move on. I do try to I like to try to put the set together, but the problem is the pre-sale has already gone live for Topps Heritage. It hit pre-sale on Monday, and yeah, we're rolling. Like I said, once Topps Series 1 drops, now we are off to the races, and Heritage has already hit the pre-sale market. This year, they're going to be focusing on the 1977 design. So what they do, they take modern players and they put it on the same card that was used way back in 1977. Look, I know Heritage isn't a set for everyone, and I've kind of found that as I go through and I look to see what people are saying, there's no middle ground when it comes to Topps Heritage baseball. Either you love it or you hate it. I kind of love it. I don't know why, but I love it. I love the throwbacks. I'm a big nostalgia guy, so anytime we can kind of go back and pay homage to things of the past, I think it's a pretty good thing. Heritage, look, hits are usually way harder to come by because this set is usually massive. This year it's no different. We're looking at 400 card checklist. In my opinion, it's the highlight of the set. The highlight is always these on-card red ink autos, and this year that's no different. These on-card red ink autos are numbered to 99, and I think they're really sweet. Hopefully we get a more detailed checklist pretty soon, and we can see who's actually signing in the product, and maybe we'll do a little breakdown of it as we get closer to when this comes out. I think it's set to come out in April, but we shall see. But they put out hobby boxes, they put out megas and blasters. I was able to get pre-order a hobby and a mega box, so there's different variations, different parallels that come with each, but we shall see what happens. I am all in. I love Heritage. It's one of my favorite things to dive into each and every year. So what else? Topps immediately capitalized on the USA Golden Medal hockey game victory over Canada on Sunday morning by immediately opening up the buying window for what have we talked about numerous times. Topps Now, they love their Topps Now cards. Full disclosure, my daughter was not too happy with me for missing this game, but hey, what are you gonna do? Sometimes you can't do everything. But I probably should have watched this game, having looked back and seen a lot of the replays and some of the highlights. It was pretty awesome. But yeah, this Topps Now card, it's a photo of Jack Hughes right after he scores the winning goal, and it's entitled "Golden Goal!" First men's hockey gold medal since 1980. Obviously 1980, this is reference to the Miracle on Ice team that beat Russia and then went on to win gold in the final round game there in 1980 Olympics. But this is pretty cool Topps Now card because it shows Jack and his mouth is all jacked up. I guess earlier in the game he lost or broke his tooth, and it's pretty wild. There's a couple different photo variations of him, show him in different pictures, but it's pretty cool. And they also have included a very special 1-of-1 gold edition card in which Hughes actually signed the card and included the words, quote, "golden goal!" exclamation mark. He put the date on it, 2/22/2026, and go USA. So this is a foil fractor 1-of-1. It's going to come out as a redemption. So anyone that orders the Topps Now card, if you win this puppy, you're going to be given a redemption card that you obviously send off to Topps, and they will mail you back this pretty amazing card. And it's probably going to fetch in the six figures easily once it is pulled. So this is definitely really cool stuff. Love to see it. And then to close out this section with something I won't be buying. Oh, but wait, what did you say, TB? There's always the If Money Were No Object Buy the Week segment. Well, there we go. Maybe I can buy it if money were no object. We bring you 2025 Panini Flawless Football, which is ready to drop this week. Yeah, listen, if you are in the market for some high-end cards, this is about as high-end as it gets, folks. This is going to be the 12th year of this high-end brand, Panini Flawless Football. They put gemstones in these cards, embedded gemstones, and you want to talk premium hits. It's a little crazy if you ask me. So what are you actually getting? Well, first off, the cards come in a briefcase. That's right. It is a briefcase. So you know Panini means business. You are looking at one pack, which contains 10 cards. And among those 10 cards, you will find 6 autographs, 2 memorabilia cards, 1 gem card, which I just discussed with you, and a additional memorabilia or gem card. So who doesn't want a gem, right? And the briefcase, how much is the briefcase worth? Like, I would love for this to actually be like a Money in the Bank briefcase, but hey, that maybe I think there's another product that comes out that they do it like that, but what do I know? But yeah, well, the cheapest I could find to get one of these right now on good old eBay, the cheapest I could find a briefcase of Panini Flawless Football. You ready for this? $7,000. So if you could actually buy one of these at pre-sale, you were looking at right around $3,750. So $3,750 for one of these briefcases. That has essentially doubled, and that is the cheapest I can find. So $7K. I absolutely want a Josh Allen red Ruby card to 25, but it may be a tad out of my price range, but hey, if money were no object, here we go. So there you go, folks. If you have an extra $7K laying around in your couch cushions, go out, drop it on this Panini Flawless Football, and maybe you can make a tenth of your money back along the way as you open these 10 cards. Maybe make it a thing. Get some dinner. Clearly wash your hands first or glove up before you open this thing. But make it an event because it's not going to take you long. 7K doesn't go very far these days, But anyway, let's use good old JA17 and his red Ruby card to 25 to segue right into the next portion of the program. Bills Mafia, how are we feeling? Look, there's not much going on. We are essentially in a holding pattern right now as there is not much happening with the roster. The Combine, the NFL Combine is about to start, and the focus will be watching these dudes run around in their underwear for the next few days. So yeah, I don't usually pay attention too much to the Combine. So just tell me how things go. Let me know who looks good. I honestly just don't care. I don't care. Tell me how amazing these guys are. It's always frustrating because you hear the stories about, well, this player didn't do this exercise, and this player didn't throw, and this player didn't run, and this player didn't jump, and I'm just like, what are we doing? Either make them all do it or make nobody do it, because it all comes down to like the quarterback. Who's the guy that just won the Heisman and the Indiana quarterback? Mendoza. He's going to the Combine, but he's not even going to throw. And it's like, well, what are you doing there? You're just talking to people, you taking pictures. Well, why are you there if you're not going to throw the football? Isn't that your job? Throw the football? I mean, I don't know. So he'll have his own private workout, his own private pro day, and who knows, he's going to go to Las Vegas Raiders and be terrible anyway, so who the hell cares? But anyway, what else in the Bills world? Offensive lineman Alec Anderson was signed to a one-year deal for $3 million. Bills Mafia, are we fired up about signing Alec Anderson to $3 million contract 1 year? Well, you might want to be, because this is probably going to be a sign of things to come for our O-line heading into the 2026 season. And if you kind of read the writing on the wall, I think he could be in line for a starting gig because free agents David Edwards and Connor McGovern are off and running. Like, in my opinion, I don't think we're going to re-sign these guys. There's no way we could spend that much on those two, Edwards and McGovern. So Anderson and his $3 million for 1 year might be the next man up. I saw a free agency list of top players available. McGovern came in at number 6, so I think he's going to be in line for quite a big payday, and I don't think the Bills should be waiting there looking to shell out mega cash considering our cap situation and how many levers we have to pull just to get compliant. I was looking over this free agent list, and I was just wondering, how the heck are we going to afford any of these guys? We have a ton of roster holes to fill, and it's crazy, but I encourage you all, just go look at the free agency list. None of these guys really blow me away, but could Mike Evans actually not be a Tampa Bay Buccaneer? If so, how would we feel about getting Mike Evans on the Bills for 1 year? I mean, number one, is he healthy? Does he actually want to leave Tampa Bay to try to play for a year or two and then, ride off into the sunset? But could we maybe get him for 1 year and say, I don't know, $18 million? That's probably way under value. What is Mike Evans going to get on the free agent market? Is he going to get 25, 30 million? I mean, Mike Evans, he can't stay healthy. And is, like I said, is he, number one, is he healthy? Number two, is he going to actually want to leave Tampa Bay? I don't know. But I would be kind of interested if we could get him for, say, 18 million. It's probably a pipe dream, but I don't know how many viable options are on this list. George Pickens, he was the number one player on this free agent list. He's not coming to Buffalo. He's probably going to end up being franchise tagged or re-signed with the Cowboys because it seems like they have endless amount of money. I don't know how they sign their players, but Rashid Shaheed, now he was also on the list. Maybe that's a maybe. I would say that's a maybe, depending on what kind of deal he's looking for. He would kind of fill a couple needs for this Bills team. He would be a speedy wide receiver, and he would also fulfill the kick return, punt return, kickoff duties. So I'd be fine with seeing, is Shaheed a viable solution to help out in the wide receiver room? I'm not saying he's a number one, and here again, I don't want to fall back into the same situation where it's the Curtis Samuels and it's the Josh Palmers and it's the Rashid Shaheed. We always sign a bunch of 3s and 4s and then we never have anything. So who knows? But Alec Pierce, I'm not sold on Alec Pierce. He's going to want a ton of money. I don't know if he's a fit for this team. He's okay. I think he's fine, but again, I don't want to pay some of these guys number one money when they're not number one. So it's a tough wide receiver free agent list, and I'm not sure I want to actually be shopping among these options. I'd be more willing to try and make a trade, and you know me, I am all in on these trades. I went nuts at the trade deadline, and Brandon Beane won a TB for I got you in my sights award because he he stood pat and didn't do anything, and I think it was a disaster. So hey, look, I'm right back to the same names we talked about months ago at the trade deadline: Chris Olave and Jalen Waddle. I know what the prices were allegedly back then. They were too high for good old Uncle Scrooge McBean. So what are the prices now for these two guys? What's the price going to take to get Olave from the Saints? What's the price going to take to get Waddle from the Dolphins? Look, the Dolphins aren't going to compete. Neither one of these two teams are going to compete for anything. So what is the price? Tell me what the price is. It can't be as high as it was a few months ago. Maybe it's cooled off a bit. I would be diving right back into this trade pool, and hopefully things will start to pick up shortly because free agency officially kicks off on March 11th. So get your popcorn ready. But more news is actually happening off the field in the land of the Buffalo Bills, because if you haven't heard, stadium work on the new Highmark had to be stopped for almost a whole week because there was significant vandalism to multiple areas of the soon-to-be open stadium. They got pretty upset about this because a $100,000 reward was posted. I mean, $100,000 reward. This was a bigger reward than the Nancy Guthrie story at first. I'm like, holy cow! You vandalized the new era stadium. People are coming for you. So $100K for anyone coming forward with deets on the culprits, and it looks like it might have worked because as of I think Saturday afternoon, 2 suspects have been identified. And they're saying the damage that was caused by this graffiti was almost or over $150,000. That's crazy. So I don't know. Help me make sense of this. Why do people have so much extra time on their hands? Like, go take a walk, go play a game, do a puzzle, start your own podcast where you could come on and complain about everything like I do. But like, how much time do you have on your hands that you got to break into the new stadium and just destroy something people are trying to create? I just don't. I hope these idiots are not Bills fans. I really do. I'm looking forward to seeing how this plays out, but I think part of their punishment needs to be that they are forced to watch nothing but New York Jets games for the rest of time. So I don't know. It's so frustrating. But anyway, we are going to turn our attention to the squared circle. Wrestling Marks, you are on the clock. How the heck are we feeling? We missed discussing the last few episodes of Raw and SmackDown, but that's okay. We're rolling right into Elimination Chamber, which is coming up this Saturday, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time from good old Chicago, the United Center. The field for each chamber match has finally set after last night's Monday Night Raw, and the card is ready to go. But a couple other things before we preview the Elimination Chamber and before I dive into my predictions. A few things from Monday Night Raw last night. The theme that was weaved throughout the entire episode was this tribute to AJ Styles. Now, if you have been a wrestling fan for any amount of time, if you watched last night and you didn't have this overall foreboding sense of like apprehension, congratulations, because I was thinking the entire episode that this was just nothing but a grand setup for some disaster, some beatdown, some way to get another match out of AJ, another WrestleMania match. I was a bit on edge. I'm thinking there's no way this is too perfect. It's going to lead to some disaster, but thank goodness that's not how it turned out, because we've all been duped before, so I understand if you were a bit antsy like I was. But wrestlers were showing up all throughout the episode who have either feuded with him or tagged with him in different companies throughout his career. It was pretty cool. I really enjoyed it. They were all coming to pay their respects. Then they played a really good promo package right before his entrance into the arena, but it was a really cool promo package. And again, look, I've talked about this before. This is the wheelhouse for WWE. They know how to do these promo packages probably better than literally anything else they do. This was a great one. It showcased highlights from his entire career in TNA, in New Japan, in WWE. It was put together using the song Higher by Creed, who, of course, was also happens to be from Georgia, which is where AJ is from. The whole thing just fit together nicely. And of course, Monday Night Raw last night was from Atlanta. So yeah, it was awesome. It was just very fitting. After the promo, they hit AJ's music. He comes out to the ring, and ringside, it was his family, it was his wife, his kids. They were all front row. AJ gives a pretty good speech. He thanks everyone, focusing on his wife and all the sacrifices she had to make, raising the kids and whatnot. It was awesome. It was awesome. Awesome. Not awful, awesome. It was a perfect speech. I didn't think it went too long. I think it covered all the bells and whistles, and then that was it. So he took off his vest. He laid it in the middle of the ring. He took off his gloves. He said he didn't leave his gloves in the ring after his retirement match with Gunther because he wanted to bring them home to Georgia, and he took off his gloves and left them in the center of the ring, and that was kind of a fitting send-off. But then the whole roster of wrestlers and workers, WWE employees, they all came out on the ramp. Cool stuff, and they had already rolled credits on the episode, so you think it's done, and then of course, boom, the lights go out, the gong hits, and it's Undertaker's gong, and I was like, what is happening? Oh no, here we go. It actually is going to be a disaster. Taker rides down on his motorcycle. Undertaker gets in the ring, and I swear I am not lying. I thought for a second that this was going to lead to him challenging AJ at WrestleMania for another match, and I'm like, oh Lord, please no, this cannot be happening. But thank goodness I was wrong. Thank goodness he was not there to challenge him for a match. He simply was there to pay his respects and to tell him that it was his honor to let him know that he was going to be inducted into the 2026 WWE Hall of Fame. But I was thinking, phew, that you got me. You fooled TB yet again. Yes, I am a wrestling mark. Yes, I fall for all these things. It's because I've been watching for 40 years. So, the highs and lows, it is what it is. But the place goes crazy. That was the show. It was a fitting tribute to him. And I thought it was very well done. Couple other notes. The CM Punk promo. I don't know. CM Punk, he comes out. He doesn't really talk about his match with Finn. He talks about it like a little bit, but then he goes on to complain about Roman Reigns, and he talks about all these what ifs, and what if Roman actually showed up? And I'm like, how many times have we heard this promo from fill in the blank? It's always somebody complaining that their opponent is never around, and it's just not what I want to hear for the next 2 months leading into what I think is going to be a banger of a main event, a WrestleMania. Please tell me that this is not how we're paving the road to WrestleMania, that all Punk has is going to complain about Roman never being there. We've heard this so many times. They did it with The Rock. They did it with Roman before. They did it with, I don't know. I'm just like, oh God, is there anything else we could talk about? And this is coming off the heels of their actual fire back and forth promo that these two had in the ring together. In my opinion, if you're just going to come out as CM Punk and trash the other guy for not being there, don't come out at all, because I don't want to hear it. It doesn't make any sense, and you're not hyping up the match. You're just bitching because your opponent has a better schedule than you. So, well, you're the champion. You're supposed to show up. So I don't know. I don't have any patience for that. But anyway, they did a backstage segment with Finn Balor and Judgment Day, and guys, I was really hoping 2026 is going to be the year of Finn Balor, but I think it's not going to be the case, because I think they're foreshadowing a Dominic Mysterio interference at Elimination Chamber. Look, there's tension backstage between JD and Finn and the Judgment Day and Dominic and whatever. But yep, they did this backstage segment, and Finn wants to do it by himself, and then Dom says, well, no one was there for me, and blah, 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 blah. Who cares? Anyway, I think the Judgment Day is going to ruin it come Saturday, but we'll talk about that in a minute. Natty versus Maxine. What was this? I don't know what they're doing with this Maxine, with this Natty thing. They spent so much time hyping up Maxine, and she had a pretty good feud with Becky Lynch, and then that kind of goes away, and then this Natalia turns to Natty nonsense, and she's got the mouth guard, and the whole character change again. And then Natty comes and just wants to beat everybody up, and she eliminated Becky Lynch in the Royal Rumble. You know, I was frustrated with that, but now we get this Natty versus Maxine feud. They have a match on Raw. It goes for less than 2 minutes, and Natty kicks her. They're fighting outside the ring around the barricade. They're fighting on the barricade. Natty kicks Maxine into one of the posts, and it's like Maxine dies. She allegedly hits the post with her face, which didn't look that good. She falls on the mat, and then she just lays there unconscious. And 2 minutes, and they call for a ref stoppage. And I'm just like, what are we doing? This is dumb. So I have no idea where this is going, but it's terrible. I don't want to see it anymore. Maxine's getting worse, and I don't know what they're doing with Natty, but I digress. Brock Lesnar, he came out with Paul Heyman, and I think Paul Heyman said the name Brock Lesnar maybe 50 times in a 3-minute promo. It was getting so ridiculous and redundant, and the purpose was to declare a WrestleMania open challenge to anyone who wants to face him in 2 months in Las Vegas. And I'm like, oh boy, I don't know where this is going. We have 2 months to figure this one out. I hope it's Obafemi. I hope once he knocks off a few more mid-carders and really establishes himself as a dominant force in the WWE, I hope he challenges Brock. I would love to see Oba versus Brock. Obviously, there was a backstage segment involving Rusev and Oba, which I think that'll be good to showcase some of Oba's power, and that'll be another good opponent as he works his way up the roster. And then ultimately, hopefully, this leads to him challenging Lesnar. I would love to see that WrestleMania match. But anyway, let's get to the Elimination Chamber preview. There are 4 matches on the card, plus we have a reveal of the mystery crate. If you have not seen, there's I don't know, what is it? 7-foot tall, 6-foot tall wooden crate that has been passed back and forth between Raw and SmackDown over the last few weeks, and it has a date on it, 28, 2026, or do not open until February 28th, 2026, which is obviously the date of the Elimination Chamber. So finally, Adam Pearce, they've been sending this thing back and forth. The general managers, it's kind of been stupid, but finally he sent it to Chicago and they are going to open it together on the show. So most likely this is going to be dumb because if you are thinking about this in the scope of reality, it actually can't be a human being because there's no one that would be alive still when they open this thing. So yeah, you don't want to open this crate and have a dead wrestler inside. That would be weird. Not sure that would be the gimmick they're going for. But look, wrestling is supposed to make us suspend disbelief occasionally. So I would totally be on board if it actually was a live, living wrestler. And I would love for this to be Chris Jericho because it would be fun. It'd be interesting. And yeah, what better story to tell than Chris Jericho living in a crate for a month? I think that would be hilarious, but it's probably going to be something stupid. It'll probably be like Mark Henry, Mae Young's love child, which was a hand, or some gobbledygooker 2.0. We shall see. But I do like when they do stuff like this. It's a little extra fun, a little extra intrigue that is sprinkled into the shows. But anyway, let's get on to the actual card. This is a 4-match card, and we are going to start previewing with the Women's IC Championship. The champ, Becky Lynch versus AJ Lee. Look, every one of these matches, I'm going to tell you who I want and who I think is going to win. Who do I want to win this match between Becky Lynch, who's the champ, and AJ Lee? I want Becky Lynch. Y'all know I love Becky Lynch. Who do I think is going to win this match? I think it's going to be Becky Lynch, and just hear me out. Here's why. Because I don't think they can have both CM Punk and AJ win on the same show. And we're going to get to probably my most disappointing pick here in a second, but 2 hometown heroes winning in the same show, in the same venue, on the same night. I don't think that's ever going to happen. I don't think both of them can win because I think that would be dumb. So I think somehow Becky Lynch cheats and manages to pull out the dub. And I think this story is going to continue until WrestleMania, where I think she's going to ultimately lose the belt to AJ at WrestleMania, who's probably going to go on a little run with it. But look, the return of AJ Lee, to me, y'all might think I'm crazy. I just think it's been completely underwhelming. I am not feeling this at all. Sometimes nostalgia tricks us into thinking that we want to see certain things. And then when they actually happen, we go, yeah, that's not really what I wanted to happen. I was actually okay not having this happen. We've been asking, we've been waiting for her to come back for 10 years. Well, the more I think about it, 10 years is a long freaking time. And sometimes we don't know what we want. Sometimes, like I said, sometimes it's better to not get the things you want. A lot changes in a decade. And the whole landscape of women's wrestling is completely different. And I'm not sure I need AJ in the mix of these current WWE women's wrestlers, women superstars. I think she stood out so much before a decade ago because the overall product for the women a decade ago was kind of trash. It was kind of garbage. So there was not a lot of focus on actual wrestling back then. Y'all know I love Becky Lynch. I think she elevates each and every feud she is in, and I want to see her keep the belt at least for a little while longer. So I am going with Becky Lynch for the IC title. What else we got? Like I said, this is going to lead right into the World Heavyweight Championship. I don't think they can have 2 hometown heroes win in the same night. I think that would be stupid. And this, unfortunately, leads me to this painful pick. I have said I want this to be 2026. I want this to be the year of Finn Balor so badly. I think he deserves to be world champion. I think he deserves to have great feuds with some of the top guys in the company. I'm just not sure the company sees it this way. I don't know why. Look, I get it. Unfortunately, the writing is on the wall. The backstage Judgment Day segment, we talked about it before. The infighting between him and Dom and JD, it's been happening for months and months and months and months and months and months. And I just feel like Finn wants to do this himself. He thinks he has a real shot. Dom is going to interfere some way, somehow. He wants the spotlight. And it's just going to be some shenanigans for sure. Who do I want to win? Look, it's no secret. I want Finn Balor to win probably more than anything in this whole card. I want Finn Balor to come out of Chicago as the World Heavyweight Champion. But who do I think is going to win? CM Punk. I think it's going to be some sort of schmaz. I think Dominic Mysterio is going to cost Finn the title. They're going to go on to feud for the IC belt at WrestleMania, and I think Judgment Day is going to shake up. They're going to have a blow up of some sort, and yeah. So the outcome of this match, I think, is going to be the most disappointing. I think this match is going to be an absolute banger. Shout out to Sheamus, but ultimately, I think Finn is going to come up short. Pains me to say it. Anyway, let's move on to the women's chamber match. The winner of this match is going to go on to face Jade Cargill. And this was decided after Monday Night Raw. Liv came out. She was making her decision on who she was going to face at WrestleMania. And she flat out knocked Stephanie Vacquier to the mat. She hit her with the microphone, and obviously that was her choice. So she is going to move forward with feuding with Stephanie Vacquier. So now that you know that side of the WrestleMania matchup, Jade Cargill is your heel champion, your heel women's champion. So this eliminates half the chamber entrance. It's just, they have zero chance. Here are the entrants. You have Tiffany Stratton, Rhea Ripley, Alexa Bliss, Asuka, Kiana James, and Raquel Rodriguez. There's no way they are going to do a heel versus heel match with Jade Cargill at WrestleMania. It just does not have anywhere near enough star power. So I'm sorry, Asuka. I'm sorry, Kiana James. Look, I would love to see Kiana James get a run. I think she's great. I think she needs to get away from the whole manager gimmick, because she can wrestle. And Raquel, I think she could do great too. But sorry, Asuka, James, Raquel, you got no chance. Nope, sorry. That leaves Tiffy Time, Rhea Ripley, and Alexa Bliss. We've seen Tiffy Time, and if I'm being honest, I hate to say it, I just don't think she's getting much better. We've seen Tiffy versus Jade. It wasn't very good, her matches recently. I know she came back from an injury, but her matches, Tiffy's matches lately have not been that great. They've been a little rough, which leaves you with Rhea Ripley and Alexa Bliss. Who do I want to win? I would love to see Alexa Bliss win this thing. I think they could tell a really good story leading into Mania that involves Charlotte doing the whole acting like a friend thing. Look, they kind of hinted at it, acting like a friend along the way. This would lead to jealousy and bitterness. You know, this is a typical Charlotte story. We've seen it before where she acts like she's your friend and then she turns on you, and then Charlotte would somehow cost Alexa the match at Mania. The friendship breaks up, or maybe she does win. Maybe she beats Jade, and then right after it, Charlotte turns on Alexa because she's even more jealous and more bitter over Alexa winning, and the friendship breaks up and the feud is off and running. I think that would be a good story to tell. So who do I want to see? I want to see Alexa win, but the easy choice, who do I think is going to win? I think it's going to be Rhea Ripley. Look, everyone loves her. This is going to be power versus power. Rhea versus Jade is a pretty good power showdown. Jade's not going to be able to push Rhea Ripley around like she has some of these other opponents. I think it could be good for Jade to put her up against the best. And they've been giving Jade some less than ideal feud so far, and I think this would be a chance for her to kind of prove herself against some of the top tier talent. I would be good with either Rhea or Alexa, but for the purposes of this show, I think who I think is going to win is going to be Rhea Ripley. And then finally, we get to the men's chamber match. Wow. You want to talk about a little bit of a unique field. We have Randy Orton, Cody Rhodes, LA Knight, Javon Evans, Trick Williams, and the final entrant, Jey Uso. And look, if you saw the match on Monday Night Raw, the final qualifying match, I would love to know if Jey was actually supposed to win that qualifying match. He was going up in a triple threat match against the OG El Grande Americano and Bronson Reed. Bronson Reed clearly hurt his right arm. It looked like either he tore his bicep or something, but he basically took himself out of the match. And I wonder if they had to call an audible and went with Jey winning. They had to come up with something. So Jey took the dub. But I think this is an interesting field. Just like with the women, the winner of this chamber is going to go on to face the SmackDown champion, WWE champion, Drew McIntyre. He's a heel, right? So not a lot of bad guys on this side of the chamber match. So it's a little harder to figure this one out. Javon Evans and Trick Williams, well, I think they're awesome. They are rookies. I know that they're going to put on a hell of a show on Saturday, but sorry, while I do think your time is coming, I'm not going to tell you that your time is at the main event of WrestleMania 2 months, so you're both gone. Jey Uso, yeah, I'm not falling for this. They're not repeating that mistake again. He has zero chance. You're gone too. That leaves Randy, Cody, and LA Knight. Ugh. And the more I think about it, the more I have a very bad feeling about this. The problem is Drew has kind of been taking out everyone along the way. He's got beef with, seems like, all the good guys. I don't know. It's Who knows? My worry is they go safe and they just have Cody win. That would suck. I don't want to see Cody versus Drew. Straight up old, boring. We've seen it. Unless it somehow turns into a triple threat or a fatal four-way at Mania, Cody versus Drew would straight up suck. I don't want that whatsoever. So who do I do? Who do I want? I'd be fine with Randy or La Knight. But if I had to pick who I want to see, give me La Knight. He's been a good soldier. I think it's time to give him his moment. What better way to crown him champ than LA Knight versus Drew McIntyre? If he can somehow manage to remove himself from all the Vision nonsense, I think that would be a fun match, a fun lead up to Mania. Who do I think? Yeah, I'm sorry. I think they're going to do it. I think it's going to be Cody freaking Rhodes. They're going to put him right back in the title picture, which nobody except the little kids wants to see. Is he the next John Cena for the next 10 years? I don't know. I can't get on board with that. But I'm thinking about it. I'm not sure this men's chamber match closes the show. I think it's going to be a good match, but I don't see a winning Cody Rhodes as your go-home happy moment. I think the hometown hero, CM Punk, is going to be his match against Finn Balor is going to be the last match of the night, and I hope it turns out to be the best. Anyway, that's my Elimination Chamber preview. I think it's going to be a good show. Last year we saw the turn of John Cena and the show was awesome. So I'm hoping we can get the same kind of magic from Chicago this Saturday. But I think that's going to wrap up this episode of the 3Ts. If you have enjoyed this episode or any episode of the 3Ts podcast, do me a favor, share it with someone you know, whether they are a fellow Mafia member, a card collector, or someone who loves professional wrestling just like me. It doesn't matter. I'm trying to grow this thing one episode at a time. So please help your boy out. Hit that follow, hit that like, leave me a quick review, and help me build this thing together. And as always, I appreciate you all very, very much. So until next time, whether it's ripping packs, breaking tables, or dropping elbows, keep doing what you love. And as always, go Bills.